Hey there, gang. Patrick King here, coming to you live from, where are we at? Westminster,
Maryland.
Westminster, Maryland. Nick has joined me, Nick DiFranco. He's a farrier here, good friend of mine. We're meeting up for dinner, and I talked him into his first 15 minutes of fame, right? No, don't be nervous. It's all right.
I'm not.
It's all right. He's nervous sharing the limelight with the big star.
I guess. Yeah.
Anyway, so Nick is a farrier, and he's agreed to join me for this live broadcast where we want to talk just briefly on preparing your horse for the farrier. This is something that's really important. I help a lot of farriers around the country dealing with horses that are difficult to deal with their feet, things like that. And we all hear stories of horses that are beating up on farriers. I'm sure you've been on the receiving side of a few of those.
Several times.
So, you know, something that I'm a firm believer in, and I'm pretty sure every farrier I've ever met has been a firm believer in this, and that is your farrier is not your horse trainer. It's not your farrier's job to train your horse to stand there for, you know, having their feet done, having their feet trimmed, or for having shoes put on, things like that. So one of the biggest things that I want to make sure everybody understands, you got to get your horse ready. You've got to be handling their feet quite a bit. Don't leave that up to your farrier. I've got a video here on our YouTube channel discussing how to work a horse that might be difficult with having their legs handled, working them with a rope. That's something I know Nick and I have done a few times together with some challenging horses. That's a great way to do it. Another thing that is going to be pretty important is having your horse that he can stand there, right? We've all seen those horses that want to fidget in the cross ties or fidget while the farrier is underneath them, and I imagine that's probably not fun to deal with.
Fidget, weaving, you name it. It's when the horse is laying on you, it gets kind of heavy.
Yeah, absolutely. So we want to make sure when your farrier's coming, make sure that you've worked with your horse. You might even, something I recommend to a lot of owners, is work with your horse on the ground, do some groundwork, 10 or 15 minutes. Maybe that's all that horse needs to get ready, and then they're in a better mindset to be able to stand there for the farrier and be a willing participant in that whole idea. So you've got to have your horse prepared. So Nick, what are some of the things, okay, loaded question, here we go, the things your farrier probably wants to tell you but might be too shy. What are your biggest pet peeves when it comes to doing feet?
Where do I start? Wet horses. You got done riding your horse, you're bringing it to me soaking wet. Well, when your horse is wet, the inside of my legs are wet for the rest of the day. Muddy horses, horses that act up. You don't tell me they act up, I don't know, don't expect it.
Muddy horses? You mean you're not supposed to be the groom too?
No, I don't do that. I charge extra for that.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, that's there's a whole list. We don't have enough time on here to go over the whole list, so
yeah. So wet horses, that's something I wouldn't have thought of, but that makes sense. You know, and then you're dealing with the wet hoof, and your tools are probably going to pay the price for that too.
Oh yeah, right? Hoof oils before I come. A lot of people paint with oil, thinking that got to make the horse's feet look pretty. They don't need to be pretty for me. I'll.
Gotcha. So they are going through the work of grooming the horse and getting them ready, but then they put the oil on, and that makes your job a little tougher.
Oh yeah, makes my tools, can't grip my tools, can't grip. You know, it's a mess. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's something to think about. If you are grooming your horse to prepare them for the farrier, don't put any hoof oils or any fancy finishers on there because it makes it more difficult for them to use their tools. So, okay. All right. Well, Nick, I know you've watched a couple of these talking about horses live broadcasts, so you may or may not be prepared, but the guest on the show always gets to ask the question of the day.
Oh, no. You want me to ask a question?
Yeah, ask a question. That's cool. You get to ask everybody out here in you know, Facebook land.
What am I asking? You threw me under the bus here. I don't know. Question of the day. I don't know. I got to think about that one. So I guess keep talking for a little while. I don't know what to say.
Oh gosh. All right. Well, while Nick's thinking about question of the day, want to remind everybody, if you might know a farrier that would appreciate hearing this advice from us, or if you know somebody, maybe you have a friend where you board that needs to hear a little bit of this advice, tag them in the comments section below this video.
Still working on that question of the day.
Oh gosh, okay, I'm gonna pull one out of my hat for Nick. So I know Nick does both shoes, specialty shoes, corrective shoeing, and trims, of course. So tell me, what kind of shoe job does your horse typically need? Is he a horse that needs corrective shoeing? Is he a horse that wears standard shoes? Or
is he barefoot?
Is he barefoot? Yeah, absolutely. Is he barefoot? Nick's going to be checking in afterwards on the comments section below here. Give us your answers in the comments section below. Don't forget, you guys keep sending in your questions, and we'll keep talking about horses.
Absolutely.
Thanks, gang.
Thanks.